Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Good morning, and welcome to today's newspaper review. I am Temitope Arogundade. This morning, this Tuesday, 27th of January 2026, we're going to be talking about some major stories on the newspaper this morning. Major stories dominating the front pages of the nation's dailies, moving from the Vanguard, the Punch, New Daily Times, and the Guardian newspaper. Today's headlines speaks loudly about the state of the nation, from security threats within and outside our borders to rising economic pressures on citizens, governance, political rearrangement, and social crisis affecting everyday Nigerians. So this is something that is affecting everybody. It's not if it's living in a particular group and say, oh, no, we're just affecting this. No, the stories on the front lines this morning is affecting everybody, and it's good if everybody's able to chip in one or two things. So the phone lines are open: 090-7224-5018. I'll take that again: 090-7224-5018. You can call us, and if you feel that, I don't want to call, I want to just text, 090-7224-5018, and also the same number for our WhatsApp, 090-7224-5018. So we're going to begin this morning with the Vanguard newspaper. Major headline on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, "Cool, 16 indicted officers to face court martial." This is coming from the DHQ. 16 indicted officers to face court martial. And we have one writer to that story. It says, "Panel will ensure fairness and due process." Yeah, this lead story on Vanguard reports that 16 military officers indicted over an alleged coup plot will face court martial, according to the defense headquarters. Yeah, the DHQ assures that the panel set up to try these officers will ensure fairness and due process. I open that this development, it has raised serious national concerns, allegation of a coup plot strike at the heart of Nigeria's democratic stability and the professionalism of the armed forces. While the military leadership of the armed forces insists that the judicial process will be transparent, analysts are saying that the situation highlights deeper issues such as internal discipline, morale, and the need for constant safeguard within the armed forces. In a region where we have military takeovers that's become subsequently disturbing, we see our neighboring countries getting affected by things like this. Nigeria's ability to decisively handle such allegations carries serious domestic and international implications. Moving to another story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, 15 million Nigerians use hard drugs. Wow. 15 million Nigerians use hard drugs, and this is coming from Mawa. Vanguard is telling us that the NDLEA chairman, Buba Mawa, is saying that 15 million Nigerians are currently using hard drugs. And this figure is it's very worrying. It's very worrying. Picture 15 million people across the country using hard drugs. because beyond crime and insecurity, drug addiction has been like a major problem, like a serious health issue, productivity issue, and social challenges. Analysts are saying that this crisis is fueled by unemployment, mental health neglect, urban stress. Do you guys think so? Yeah, unemployment is there. Like when they said that the idle hand is the devil's workshop. 15 million Nigerians are exposed, are using, because the NDLEA chairman is saying they are using. Like, how sure are they of this number? Is it that this is more than? Is it that it is not up to? Because Nigeria has like a data problem. We need to know that. So you can get more on that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving on to another story this morning, we have my defection is in interest of Kano people, and this is coming from Governor Yusuf. My defection is in the interest of Kano people. Moving on to another story, gunmen adopt 26 in Zamfara communities, set shops ablaze. Wow. Gunmen adopt 26 in Zamfara communities, set shops ablaze. We have one rider to this story. This is a very sad story. Tension in Ondo community as gunmen adopt prophetess and shoot 3. We're having more of this gunmen issue, but we are getting news that insecurity is getting better. Like the security issue is getting better, and we keep seeing news like this on the front pages. Gunmen adopt 26 in Zamfara communities, set shops ablaze. Tension in Ondo community as gunmen adopt prophetess and shoot 3. You can get more on that story on page 6 and 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. Moving on to another story this morning, 13 deprivation. Federal government plus coordinates for new disputed oil fields. And you can get more on that on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. Beside that story, we have Osun local government tenure, elongation illegal, undemocratic, and this is coming from Governor Adeleke. Osun local government tenure, elongation illegal, undemocratic, and you can get that on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Sports section of the Vanguard newspaper this morning says Super Eagles NSC confirms contract extension talks with Chile, and we have one rider to that story. Meets with NFF Tuesday or Wednesday. Our coach, we don't want to lose him. And above the nameplate this morning, we have CBN upgrades OPay, Monopoint, others to national licenses. And if you want more on the story, you can go to page 28 of the Vanguard newspaper. Beneath that story, we have UK property scandal. AGF takes over ICPC's case against Ozekome. And that story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Same page. On the Vanguard newspaper, we have 2027 Tinubu's running mate. APC dismisses speculations over Shettima's replacement. Okay, the story. APC is dismissing speculations over Shettima's replacement. And the last story we're taking on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, when bulldozer rumble in Makoko. And one writer to that story says, claim of 100-meter demolition from power line and excuse. And this is coming from the residents of Makoko. You can get more on that on page 15 of the Vanguard newspaper. And that's all we'll be taking this morning on the Vanguard newspaper. Moving to the Punch newspaper this morning. Major headline on the Punch newspaper this morning. Military investigation ends. DHQ moves to arraign alleged coup plotters. This cool story is on all the national dailies. All the national dailies, they're talking about this. And we have 3 writers to this story. Military finally confirms plot to overthrow Tinubu government. Another rider inside the plot to breach presidential villa security. And the last writer to this story, DHQ awaits presidential go-ahead for military tribunal. And that story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Beneath that story, we see deadly winter storm hits U.S., 17 killed, flight grounded. And there's a pictorial representation of the situation going on in that country. If you want to see it, grab a copy of the Punch newspaper and you can get more on that on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. Beneath that story, we have 2027 Ganduje assures Yusuf of APC tickets after defection. And that story is on page 20. The Kano State Governor Ganduje is assuring him of APC tickets after his defection. Beside that story, we have NDLEA arrests 336, destroys 207,000 kg cannabis in Ondo State. Wow. And you can get more on that on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Beside that story, we have local government power tussle. Osun APC kicks as Adeleke slams Oyetola. And that story is on page 20 of the Punch newspaper. Above the nameplate, we have presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. Presidential panel recommends freeze on 1 trillion naira rice imports. And that story is on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Strike. Court decides as FCT workers demand Wike's removal. Court decides as FCT workers demand Wike's removal. If you want more on the story, page 7 of Punch newspaper has it. And beside that story, we have over 400,000 just so for 50,000 police jobs. We have over 400,000 just for the 50,000 police jobs. And the last story we'll be taking is beside the nameplate, and it says Alaafin shown absent as Makinde keeps up 50th Oyo anniversary. That story is on page 20 of the Punch newspaper, and that's the last story we'll be taking on the Punch newspaper this morning. Before we move on to the remaining 2 papers that we'll be taking this morning, we'll be going on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
So I want to know, is compassion a skill?
Interesting question. Compassion is actually a soft skill. It is caring about others and behaving towards them with affection, generosity, and concern. Compassion means having genuine feelings for other people's struggles.
Correct.
I hope you're compassionate to someone today.
I'll try.
Can't got you sounding like a broken record. Or smarter than your ex.
I'll be a fool to go back to my ex-boyfriend. I'll be a fool to go back to my ex-girlfriend.
You love us non-stop. High Impact 102.1 FM.
We don't set the standards. We are the standard. That frequency is 102.1.
Hey, High Impact.
Hello.
How many bones does a shark have?
A shark has no bones.
Oh, thank you, High Impact.
You're welcome.
The king of radio is here. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Hey, High Impact. Tell me a fun fact about butterflies. Did you know that butterflies can taste with their feet? Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, High Impact.
Hey, High Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
So, tell me a random fact about ants.
I'll tell you one. Did you know that ants can actually lift 20 times their own body weight?
Now I know.
Ants are really hardworking.
Are you a solo entrepreneur, startup team, or a seasoned professional looking for workspaces beyond the traditional office setting? High Impact Studios is the perfect place for you. Whether you're into the focus of a private or shared desk, the solitude of a personal corner, the exclusivity of a private office, or the collaboration in a conference room, we've got diverse plans designed around your preferences. So break free from the regular and elevate your work lifestyle by visiting High Impact Studios today. For inquiries, call 0706 393 5694 or 0813 428 2879. You can also send an email to info@highimpactstudios.com to reserve your space today.
Come on over to my place.
The Urban Radio with the Force. Can you feel the pulse?
Yes, of course.
What's our name?
High Impact
102.1 FM.
Welcome back, guys. You're still listening to Impact 102.1 FM and is the newspaper segment, newspaper review segment, and we've been talking about major headlines. We've gone through the Vanguard newspaper and the Punch newspaper. And now we'll be moving to the Daily Trust newspaper. And of course, you know, the phone lines are open for you to join the conversation. 090-7224-5018. Major headline on the Daily Trust this morning, we are seeing 2027 Ganduje Barrow close ranks with Kano governor, and that story you can see, you can read more on it on page 3 and 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Moving on to another story on the Daily Trust newspaper. Coup, indicted officers face death penalty. Indicted officers face death penalty, and that story you can get on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Osun governor demands release of 130 billion naira local government funds. Osun governor demands release of 130 billion naira local government funds, and that story is on page 8. On page 22 of the Daily Trust newspaper, we are seeing federal government to spend 30 billion naira on solar grids inverters. Federal government to spend 30 billion naira on solar grids inverters. Bandits adopt 23 persons in Zamfara. It's a really sad story. Bandits adopt 23 persons in Zamfara, and that story is on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Beneath the nameplate, we have NAN's receptions, tax laws, electoral act, top agenda. I'm sure many people want to read this story. Grab a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper and go to page 11, and you will read more on this story. Beside that story, we have FCT grounded as worker strike enters day 6. Workers are on strike. They want the removal of Wike. Yeah. I know people have like mixed feelings on this, and the strike has entered day 6. And that's all we'll be taking. We don't have much on the Daily Trust. That's all we're going to be taking this morning on the Daily Trust newspaper. According to the Guardian newspaper, Guardian has like quite a number of stories. Major headline on the Guardian newspaper this morning says residents on the brink as rent spike above yearly income in major cities. This is one thing that is affecting people living, residents in Lagos. Rent spike. But you can get that story on page 6. But there's a picture representative of how this housing thing is happening. Nigerians' housing deficit, estimated at nearly 28 million units, continues to widen. But that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper, the lead story focuses on Nigerians' deepening housing crisis. And according to the report, rents in major cities have risen beyond the yearly income of many residents, pushing households to the brink. With Nigerians' housing deficit estimated at nearly 28 million units, the problem continues to worsen. Inflation rising, construction costs, weak mortgage systems, and agency fees have combined to make decent. Because you want to rent a house, you will see house for 1 million. You hear commission, everything, total package. You hear 2 point something. The whole agency fee and everything is making decent housing unbearable. For many families, rent now competes with food, it competes with feeding, it competes with healthcare. I think it's even higher now. It competes with education. Housing experts warn that without urgent policy intervention, urban poverty and homelessness may rise sharply. And this is something that I don't think we can handle if they do not contain it now. But of course, you can get more on that on page 6, like I said earlier. Moving to another story. Oil spill worsens in Ogoni 1 month after federal government's intervention. Oil spill worsens in Ogoni 1 month after federal government's intervention. You can get more on that on news page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Beneath that story, we have Adeleke orders APC officials to vacate local government secretariats. Governor Adeleke orders APC officials to vacate local government secretariats, and that news you can see more on news page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. APC tightens grips, sweeps Yusuf Mufwang Atiku's son in widening realignment. And you can get that on news page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Beneath that story, we have 15 million Nigerians consume illicit substances, Marwa declares. NDLEA chairman Mara is saying 15 million Nigerians consume illicit substances, and that you can find on page 4. Soludo orders 1 week closure of Onitsha main market over sit at home. Governor Soludo, he has ordered 1 week closure of Onitsha main market over sit at home, and that we have on Metro page 9. Beneath the nameplate, we have DHQ to cut martial indicted officers in coup plot. The Guardian is also reporting on the planned court martial of indicted officers, reinforcing the seriousness of the allegation and the military determination to protect institutional integrity. We'll see how things goes. We'll see how things goes. Beside that story, we have don't let 2027 politics undermine governors. CSLAC wants the National Assembly. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, that's CSILC, has warned lawmakers to not allow the early 2027 political calculations to derail governance. The group argues that premature politicking distract leaders from addressing urgent national challenges such as insecurity, inflation, and unemployment. And the warning resonates at the time when political alignment, defections, and campaign rhetoric are already gaining momentum. barely 2 years into administration. Yeah, we've been seeing this going on. So they're telling them, like, don't let this undermine the governance of the country. But you can get more on that on news page 3. And the last story we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper says tax laws, NEFGAD demands probe sanctions over alleged alterations. Yeah, we're seeing this. They're saying the NEFGAD is demanding probe sanctions over alleged alterations, and that's the last story we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper. And of course, that brings us to the end of today's newspaper review. The stories on the front pages, it reflects like a nation navigating complex challenges. We're going from election, things that is going on, to insecurity, to this cool story that is on all major stories, major headlines, major dailies. We are seeing this cool issue. We're seeing the NDLEA chairman saying 15 million Nigerians are taking ad substance, and it's not really we didn't read any nice story, any good story. It has just been from one issue to the other, from one problem to the other. Governance, public health, political recalibration, and different things just going on in this country. And they remind us that the nation's progress, it depends not just on the policy announcements, but on effective implementation, on accountability, inclusive decision making. And as always, staying informed remains a vital part of civic responsibility, and that's where I'll be drawing the curtain. But don't go anywhere. After this, we'll be having Dr. Somi. Money Magnet show will be coming right up by 8, so don't go anywhere. I'm sure you're gonna learn one or two ways to make money in this hard economy that we are in. I've been your host since. My name is Timita Paragundade, and this has been today's newspaper review. Don't go anywhere.
Hello there.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Start your day with Impact as we give you positive affirmations, traffic updates, entertainment, fun trivia, and many more on Morning Impact. From 6 a.m. to 12 noon every day on High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
And I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information, call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931. Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Hey, High Impact.